pleasure and a privilege to be here and to be allowed to open and continue a conversation. I mean, open a conversation with some of you and continue a very old conversation with some of you. It's really a pleasure to be here. I actually want particularly to thank the organizing committee of this conference, particularly because there was a theoretical and political conflicts about the interpretation of the poster of the conference, and this and the organization committee was extremely flexible and very productive in the ways of trying to resolve the conflict. One of the consequences of the ways of resolving this conflict was that I was going to share my keynote speak with a colleague, a feminist colleague with a Sami background, but sadly she couldn't make it. But I want to underline that I really enjoy the ways the organizing committee could manage this, theoretical and political conflicts without getting, they don't like us, and now it's so unfair. I thought it was very, very productive and and I really want to underline that I'm very grateful about that theoretical political conflict between different kinds of feminists didn't end in kind of emotional tragedy for everybody else, and us. Sometimes they end. And this was a very productive way of saying, okay, we do it, we invite a feminist scholar from Sami background. I mean, it didn't function because it didn't practically function, but I want to thank them and really to stay maybe in this kind of spirit, because I think this is a model of how we can relate to each other, speak to each other, and go forward. What we learn about this theoretical and political conflict, is that whatsoever feminists mean with the Nordic is debates about the Nordic without the presence of feminist scholars that have experienced intern colonialism, a serious problem. So that is. And what I think is wonderful is that you say, well, we learn something, ciao, we go for others. So I think that is, I believe, the spirit. I want to thank the NORA board for that. And what I'm going to try to do is to engage in identifying some topics which I think are relevant for the feminist theory with a big T. And that is the first one I'm going to relate to. This feminist theory, the international. And then I'm going to move from the feminist theory, the international, to the Nordic. And from that, I'm going to get into illustrations because I have to confess that I have a background in sociology, and even if I try to kind of leave the discipline, I was saying, okay, well, what is your empirical material? I have this very unfriendly ghost with me following how can she say that? Or what does she have for empirical? And so well, yes. So I have some illustrations based on my empirical studies, so that I can, in a way, support the arguments I have developed. So theory with T, the Nordic, some reflections about the doing of feminist theory in the Nordic context, and then I get into two different kinds of illustrations. One about the Nordic Forum. I believe every feminist that has been in the Nordic Forums has been forced to write a paper about that. I get back to the issue. And then about the Sweden Democrats, or the women active in the Sweden Democrats. Sweden Democrats is a cultural racist party that we have that has more than 30% of the sub-election supported in the last elections in Sweden. I'm going to end that. So, speaking about situated knowledge, from where I speak. I mean, I'm a highly normative person. So I don't like, I mean, I think really capitalist heteronormative, I really think are bad ideas, and I think they hurt people. And that's where I stand. I also stand from a convincement that that Europe in general and Nazis in particular cannot be explained without the experience of colonialism and the European colonial project. I know maybe you are not so traumatized by Zygmunt Bauman, but because I'm a sociologist, I've read Bauman, and the uniqueness of the European experience of the Shoah has been challenged by several post-colonial articles. And I depart from the convincement that it's impossible to understand Nazism if you understand, and that's the kind of the genocide and the concentration camps in what is today Namibia. And that's why I like this. It's also in English, but it's a lot of empirical material. As I told you, I'm a sociologist, so I get this. Yes, now we show that we were right. But I think this is which I think is an issue, the uniqueness, how uniqueness. And I speak also from an ambivalence towards European modernity. Maybe because I have an ambivalence towards alternative epistemologies. You know, I would really like myself to like them more than I actually do. I really work hard to like them, but then some kind of ghost takes me back to enlightenment and women's rights. So, and I don't know, I have tried to live in that ambivalence, not to resolve it. And from an identification with the radical potential of the feminist tradition. When I wrote that, I thought, well, you know, everybody could say, well, of course she has an identification with the radical potential of the feminist tradition. She has invested in feminism all her life. You know, we are so old. But I mean, actually, I would strongly argue that what's called the third wave of marketization. Now, I'm speaking with Michael Borrowos, which is sociologist, or Polanyi, if you want to go down in history. But I mean, I think that this third wave of marketization, not only neoliberalism, but the third wave of marketization, the expansion of the construction of commodities, go for nature, go for bodies and go for natures. And that makes women as a category, or those identified by the category of women, as a very special conflict zone in this process of third wave commodification. So it's not that I think feminist is ontologically radical. I think that feminist is at the crossroads in this battleground about the commodification of bodies and natures. And I think there's a lot of, that's why I think we should stay in feminist. And this is about, two research projects, one on feminist theory and the other on women. That is because I always feel that I have to be a duktig flicka och visa att jag inte bara, and not only, it's not that I only speak and blah, 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 but I have done my research.